thank you. Everybody signed in. I hope everybody signed in here. There's a sheet back there. If you haven't, please get your name down. As the new board president, and I say new board because last meeting was enacting our new bylaws, so we are kind of under new or more stringent rules here. So we'll just try to follow through. Last meeting we held was a year ago. I did not print out minutes of the meeting. They should be posted and sent out to everybody. Everybody familiar with last year's meeting? I'd like a motion to accept those minutes. Rod Van Bremen. Thank you, Rod. Can I have a seconder for that? Paul Murray, thank you. Any discussion on minutes of last year? Any comments from our meeting last year? Everyone was good? Great. Can we have a vote on that then, please? All those in favor? Anybody opposed? That would be unanimous. Oh, yes, sorry. All right, that's coming on. Yeah, so I'm on another board and we don't do this, but we are supposed to, under our ASC guidelines and rules of how to perform meetings, is accept this agenda. So we printed a couple extras there. Anybody not read the agenda? Anybody got it? So can I have a motion to accept the agenda for today? Somebody? All again? The seconder? Any comments? Julie from the seconder? All right. Any comments on that then? Everybody's seen the agenda here for today? Accept the agenda? Done. Thank you. So item 2 was today's meeting. We also had a special meeting last September, which was to enact our new bylaws under ANCA. Again, we were very thankful that all of ASC provided us with the guidelines for our club rules. And as a result, we are a board of 4, but that was an important meeting, and most people here today were at that meeting. So I'd like a motion to accept that special meeting minutes. All again. We need a seconder from that. It was at that meeting. Steve Barnstable, thank you. And any comments on that special meeting?
You just outline what the main difference is from the previous to what it is today. You know what I mean? What's the main difference in terms of?
They didn't give us a before and after. But that's a good question, Rob. And generally, I would say they're the same in terms of what the format of your meetings and things like that are essentially the same. Our board's a little bit different, and we're allowed to do that within the guidelines. So
one of the things was quorum.
What's a quorum? We had to we set the quorum.
Okay.
So I don't know what it was before.
As a club, we decided to set our quorum. And Mike, we decided that it was.
Yeah, so as it's written, anything that's going to be voted in through the club at any meeting, there has to be more members present than there are board members. So if there's 4 of us here present today, there would need to be at least 5 paid members to pass any vote to meet quorum.
Which means we can't make a decision without you guys knowing what's going on. We need more of you than there are of us. So we say something, we got to bring it to you people, and the members decide. And as long as there's more members than board members, we can have a vote. That's the premise that's the biggest.
That's pretty fair.
Yeah. And so, if 3 of the board members show up, and we have the same with our board meetings. So we need a quorum within our board. We can't do it with 2 people. We have to have at least 3. Okay. Good question. Thank you. So do we vote on the motion for the special meeting? Motion to accept. All those in favor? That's just for the minutes. Item 5, introduction. I am Jerry Atkin. I'm the president of the club, voluntarily apparently. We have a new treasurer this year. He's not here today, unfortunately, and our old treasurer's not here today, unfortunately, but Mark Hyatt is a member and has decided to take over from Max. Max has been doing a pretty good job, but unfortunately has some conflicting things going on in his life right now. I have not met Mark. Steve knows him, and apparently he's an accountant by trade, or has been. So we'll be in good hands. And it is my understanding that sometime in the near future, District 7, we are one of many clubs in District 7, and we need a new treasurer for the district soon. And Mark's CA, so he apparently has also volunteered to take over district accounting as well, which will be helpful. Max did a great job. Everything's on Excel and be transferred. I was kind of hoping they'd both be here today to have that conversation. But it's my understanding that that Mark will put everything on QuickBooks, which will be really good because district is on QuickBooks as well, and that'll make a very, very seamless transition for money transfer and accounting and all that kind of stuff. So that's good. Brad's our vice president. He's done a great job doing all the things that vice presidents do, which is everything I don't do, and that means everything. Really big help on the fishing derby, really big help on our poker run, big help on putting work weeks together and stuff like that. So Brad's been doing a great job for us there. As I mentioned, Mark, Max isn't here unfortunately, but that's. And so the other member of our board is Stephen Barnstable, who's also District 7 president. So he is should be getting an award for volunteer of the century. So we meet once a month for boards, and we also meet once a month with district. As our treasurer, as our secretary at our meetings, he does just the notes and make sure that we are on schedule and doing things the way we're supposed to be doing. At district as a president, he's doing a lot more and coordinating all that, but Mark will hopefully be taking over for District 7 accounting as well, which is good. So that's our board, and Max was going to be doing a treasurer's report, and I was kind of hoping that Mark could be here. There's a couple of copies out there of a statement, an accounting statement. So this would be item 6 on the treasurer's report. I'll just kind of go through it generally. I mean, income isn't really income. It is. So we have memberships. We have lifetime memberships. Income means our club specifically, not the ticket sales and transfers from OFSC into our account for grooming and stuff like that. So our annual operating stuff is different than our club. We have 2 different accounts. We have an operating business account with OFSC, and the club has its own account for our fundraising events and stacking money away for, hopefully, a shelter for our groomer, which we'll get to in a bit. But through that, we generated $22,570.83. A lot of that was the great donations. Membership fees were not that much. Lifetime members outpace members, so people are, hey, buy a lifetime member, get the money all the way at once. Best line item here, though, really is the fishing derby, which raised significant funds, $2,900 for the club this year, which is very good.
That's actually more than that because it doesn't take into account the online.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I believe it's here somewhere else.
Okay.
What was the fee to the derby?
What was the fee?
I'll speak to the derby only here.
Yeah, we'll just. And then a huge chunk gets transferred from District 7. So we get all the money transferred for our groomers and groomer time. It's all retransferred. So it's kind of an in and out item on the balance sheet. Expenses, lot training. So we do training for our groomers. We got a new groomer this year, Steve Knight, went through groomer training. Bank charges, equipment purchases, not a lot of equipment, but got to keep it up. Fuel is a big item. Volunteer recognition, we spent a little money on this year. Trail maintenance, that kind of stuff doesn't really eat up a lot. The big in and out is the groomer time. That's where most of the money comes in and out of. Fund balance, again, 2 balance sheets. One is the, I'm not really sure about this because I wish Matt was here. So we have an opening balance of $4,800. That would be our account. And charges to operation 12,000. So 12,000. So the balance is 51,000. We're not sure. Not sure. I think it's combined. No, it can't be. That's 2 line items here. So checking account, that's 38,000, and savings account, checking account is the in and out. Our savings account, that's not enough. Where's Max when we need him? So I'd say have a motion to accept this, but I'm not sure we can. But we have to move on something here. Max isn't on the phone, is he?
No.
Okay. Fund balance. It looks good. The money in and out, we're looking at this every month, all season long. And this is the first time we've seen a summary like this. They've all been on 2 separate Excel sheets. One for our bank account and one for our operating accounts.
What's the balance? I remember when I was part of the board, we had about $48,000 or $50,000 in balance, like reserve funds.
That's our funds, yeah. And that's still...
How much is it now? Has it gone up?
It's gone up. It's around 61,000 now. It's gone up a little bit. And that money is
I know where it's intended.
is going to be allocated for the shelter when we get to that. But
in the fuel, is that part of the in and out of what comes from the OFSC? Or
yeah, it is. So OFSC pays all the groomer expenses.
Okay.
Except shelters. So
So the operating side.
yeah, so they pay for the fuel and they pay for our groomer time and they pay for our parts and maintenance. And it's recorded. I mean, we have, sheets for every time a groomer goes out.
You call it out separately, fuel, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, well, it's just a big one. And again, we get it in big chunks. We got a big tank that we fill up and one of the other clubs has a donor in their district that fills it up for free for them. So they get that donation stuff. So, but we have to record gallons and things like that so that, the money comes in and out properly.
Stephen, do you know roughly how much fuel we went through this year?
No, sorry.
It's in the thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of, I believe I had 9 fills, 2,000 each time, so 18,000 to 20,000.
8,000 liters of fuel roughly per this year.
How many hours did we groom next year?
It was around 600. I just can't remember the exact number.
Can I have a motion to accept the financial report from Max? Somebody? Anybody?
Oh,
You put a motion for it, Rod? Anybody want to second that? Any other discussion on this?
Just as a for future meetings like this, have copies circulated to the table so that you can see it.
Everybody, yeah.
But have them numbered so that you can pick them all up after the meeting, which don't want.
Hadn't thought of that. Yeah, okay, that's a good idea too.
Because that's normally the way that.
Yeah, I only printed up a couple because I got low markings on my printer. We need a vote on that. All those in favor of accepting this? Anybody opposed? It was passed unanimously. Thank you. Coordinator positions. Mike's a coordinator.
Yep.
He's looking after communications. Pete's a coordinator. He's helping out on trails. But we don't have a lot. We have more positions in coordinators open than we have people volunteering to help out. So these are social events, which is the fun part. Just ask Sir and Pete. They had fun, I hope. I know everybody that came out to the fishing derby had fun, so that's important. Positions available. So we've got a whole bunch of them listed on the back there. The social part's the fun part. The trail part, Greg's been out, I know, a couple of times in the spring or in the early fall. He goes out and does a little packing and things like that. Clearing, just on 78 mostly, or?
You don't want to be.
Yeah.
Right up the office.
Okay. So we do have, people that are out doing things, but in terms of like a coordinator, just to move things along and sort of help us pull things together and get a crew together, or make us aware of a section of trail in your neighborhood that may have had some fallen trees and needs some work on it. We're limited in our ability to get out and see all the trails, but they all need looking at from time to time, and those folks that have ATVs that are out in the spring and fall and whatnot, you can at least make us aware of situations where, logs come down or rivers have been blocked up for some reason or something like that, creeks get blocked up, let us know and we can get out there and get that work done. Specifically a membership drive. We haven't really done a membership drive. So a membership would be, a member coordinator would be helpful. Keeping our membership high is important in terms of having people come out and enjoy the poker run and keeping volunteer numbers high and things like that. So a membership liaison or coordinator would be great. Equipment maintenance, I mean, the groomers are out there doing it pretty regularly. I don't think Steve's been doing the coordinator for that, but it's kind of one of those things that would be helpful. Business liaison, there are businesses around the neighborhood that have advertised with us in the past, have got signs up on trails and sponsor things for us, and it'd be nice to have somebody that was a little bit more engaged with the local business community. And we have business members here, but how much more can we get from the community? Not necessarily money, but participation and awareness and marketing to get people out to our events. Lake staking, we kind of have a couple of crews that do that, Dottie Lake crew and a couple others, but I don't think there's specifically somebody that's saying, hey, today's the day we should be getting them out and let's do it, or today's the day we have to get them in and let's do it. So anybody interested in those positions would be helpful.
They'll go for groomer maintenance.
Sorry, your name?
Ross Moore.
Ross?
I want to get in the groomer eventually.
Okay. Groomer maintenance. Well, you want to talk to Steve. That's his name. Great.
Might think about lake staking as well, just to pick up some positions so that nobody else is going to go for it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I could take another one. I don't want to take too many on, or
no, that's good. I mean,
I'm running business as well, right?
Yeah.
So
there's, clearly there's a couple of heavy times of participation. Just before we open and just when we're closing, probably more in opening, obviously, to get out and pack and do some clearing things, signage and stuff. I mean, any help that we get, that's fantastic. Thank you. Anything else on coordinators? Anybody got any ideas where people might fit in better?
If you're thinking about it and have a second thought later on, please reach out.
Yeah. Being a coordinator on our board does not make you a board member, by the way. So being a coordinator does not put you in the driver's seat of liability or anything like that. Our board is bare bones minimum 4 people. We can have as many coordinators who do come out to our board meetings and have a vote at our board, during our meetings. But, in terms of more people, the more the better, honestly. Number 7, Rod, Vice President's report.
Well, thank you for everybody that showed up today. We appreciate that. It was more of an old-fashioned traditional winter, I believe we had, and yet it started out a little slow for us in this area. It seemed like everybody else was getting snow, and ours was a little slower to come. But eventually, I think our trails were as good as they've ever been when they opened up. So thank you to the groomer operators and trail maintenance guys. They did a bang-up job. As for my role and what I did this year, started out with a lot of landowner communications because this was a year that OFSC, I guess the rubber hit the road. We had to have memorandums of understanding, MOUs, with all private landowner people that had a trail going through their property. And it wasn't just our club. It was every club. There was delay with certain organizations like the Ministry of Transportation, and the list is very long. Many of you, District Muskoka, it was in the news. It was slow to come. It took a lot of time. And I'd like to thank Stephen because he is the computer guy that enters all this on the tool of the OFSC. And it wasn't just my role. I think we all got signatures from landowners, and as a club, we were in really, really good shape based on the signatures that we had on file, and we didn't have to really go out like some of the other clubs had to, and it was a slow opening. We did a trail cleanup day. I believe it was in December. We organized a signage day because signage has to be specific and follow OFSC guidelines. So we did a blitz there. I think we have 3 teams. And we prepared little packages to clarify rules and regulations as to what signs need to be where, distances, and so on and so forth. And I think we will do that again next year before I sign off on it. Christmas party. This was the first Christmas party I attended, and I'd like to thank Pete for organizing. Where's Pete? The cookhouse, that was a great success. So how many people do you think we had there? 50, 60?
Yeah, okay.
And Mario from the cookhouse graciously donated the space. Because it's a licensed establishment, we were able to have alcohol for those that wished to have a drink. But he charged nothing for the use of the space, and he provided us with a table for our food. And I just thought it was really well done, and I hope to do that again next year. The poker run. The poker run was, I think, a very big success. Seeing that the Tall Pine Snowmobile Club held their poker run in the same weekend that we did. We had 70 participants, I believe. We managed to generate $1,200. I have to thank Linda Boothby for her gracious offer to allow us to stage at the Lake Base Garden Center and the heated facility there. And we actually had a couple come from Ottawa, all the way from Ottawa, just for the day, to ride our trails. And they were a lovely couple, and they said they'd be back next year. So, Jerry, you were there helping. Thank you very much. It went really, really well. Fish Derby. Jerry, thank you. I did do a little bit with the Fish Derby, but it wasn't my baby. I'd like to thank Sarah and Keith Winterbottom for the outstanding effort they put forth to our Fish Derby. How many participants were there? 189. Wow, that's awesome. And the prizes that the prizes that they collected The dollar value was in $4,000 or $5,000 worth of prizes, I believe. They just did an outstanding job, and I think maybe now's the time to present them with the plaque. So Sarah, on behalf of the board and all of the members, thank you very much. And just one last moment. Yeah, thank you. Personally, I have to say you guys are solid and so fun to work with. Thank you for all your efforts. And are you going to do it again next year?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to get to 50 for sure. So next year's 49. Yeah.
Thank you. And I think you have a tentative date?
The 21st.
21st.
So it'll be that same weekend.
Thank you so much for all your efforts.
Yeah, it was 3,700 altogether.
Like the total donation to you guys was the 37.
Yeah, $3,700. That was awesome. Absolutely. So thank you again for that. One of the things that we didn't get to this year was volunteer appreciation ride of some sort. So we'd like to try to get that ready for next year. The timing is, the season ends awfully quick, I find, and maybe we'll have to put some thought into this. And if anybody is willing to be a volunteer, help out with that. It could be something as simple as a breakfast or trail ride to get hot dogs and things. But this club runs on the backbone of volunteers, and as a board, we want to show our appreciation for all the work that people do. And I think it's important. So something to think about. And if you're willing to step up and help with some of these things, that'd be awesome. So thank you for a great year. Thank you to the board. Enjoyed it, and looking forward to next year.
And thank you, Brad, for all the work you did this summer or this winter, coordinating all this stuff. It's been fun to watch it all come together. So good.
It's many hands.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
We should thank the grooming team and the trails from the first day to the last day were exceptional.
Well, one of the things in our location is a lot of the trails are through some really jagged, rocky roads, and it takes quite a base to get these trails up and running. Just last fall, it's the first time I was actually out towards the shelter through the areas, and got a half-decent ATV, and it's like, holy crap, this is really rugged. So it's a challenge for us. Some of the logging roads are a lot easier, but you can't open a part of the trail. You have to open the whole trail. So
you don't see that once the trails are groomed. You don't know. Most riders don't know what's underneath them. Yeah, that goes in.
I was certainly surprised.
They're exceptional. Day one to the bridge.
Well, item 8 on our agenda is Steve Barnstable, who's in charge of our groomer crew. So a big thank you to Steve for all the work he did, making sure the guys were out and the equipment was up and running. I know he didn't do it all himself, but it certainly showed this year. The people we met on the trails, everybody was just raving how fantastic it was this year. So thank you again for all that. Item 8, Steve Barnstable, District 7 update.
Okay, thank you. So just before I roll into that, there was a question about the number of hours. From Paul, 578 hours was what we were getting paid for with the groomer. And when I say that, it's because that at one time, the hours were basically calculated by the hour meter that's on the groomer. And the groomer might sit and idle in a person's yard for an extra couple hours a day or a week or whatever. Today, everything's GPSed and they get paid the payment received based on following all the rules. And that's making sure that grooming is done at less than 20 kilometers per hour, that we stay within the geofence of the actual trail, so that means you can't go down to your loved ones for lunch or a party with the groomer, all that kind of stuff. So it's all 570.
Why did it sit at the bar then?
Yeah, exactly, right? So
Yeah, it's BS.
Yeah.
I heard a story at the shelter. Group of guys that stay at my place, and they were at the boiler room, And the groomer was sitting there when they showed up, and the groomer was still there when they left, as the groomer operator was ordering another drink.
When was this?
And second last week, just before spring break, 2 weeks before spring break,
Let's talk about that a bit
on
more.
Saturday.
It's the first I've heard about it. So. All right. Anyway, so yeah, so just a little bit about that. And
And the groomer didn't break down.
oh yeah.
That was
Well, it did a couple of times.
Oh,
but
yeah.
They had it back up
Yeah.
at light speed.
Okay, so we'll touch more on the groomer stuff
Okay,
first.
sorry.
Okay, so yeah, so we did have a couple breakdowns. We had a depth sensor go, and the depth sensor is integrated with the actual pump, and it happened to fail about halfway down Trail 76. So that was a job where John and Scott, which are both on Zoom, helped out with getting that replaced when it was almost minus 20 degrees. Of course, the depth tank, if anybody knows anything about it, it's mostly water. As soon as you get your hands into that, it's pretty cold. Anyway, got that changed out, but then the sensor, the computer had to be recalibrated for the Cummins, and we had to get a company to come in the following day to do that, to actually get the machine out and running again. So it was down for a couple of days, just before
Family Day weekend.
yeah, it was just before Family Day weekend, which is why our trails were actually at their worst, was at the start of Family Day weekend, as we've been down for almost 3 days at that point. We had a wheel fall off as a result of a bearing letting go, and then we had an axle get damaged as a result of another bearing letting go, so we lost a couple of days with getting that stuff up and fixed. John and Scott, again, both helping with all of that stuff. I kind of coordinated and hand them the tools as they ask for it, and they do all the work, which is great, and there's actually thank yous for them right here. Yeah, so anyway, so if there's any other questions about the groomer stuff, we'll hit that and get it out of the way. No? Perfect. Regarding District 7, so the LFSC is made up of almost 200 clubs and 15 districts, and we're District 7. So District 7 has 13 clubs in it, and we run from the south end of Penetang towards Christian Island, right up through to Kearney and almost out to Algonquin Park. It's a fairly large area. It's not one of the larger areas geographically in the province for districts, but it's a large area for population and proximity to the GTA. We get a lot of ridership. The biggest things that have been going on is just across the board is actually making sure that our corporations are all compliant with the law and following those laws and being able to audit them. We, as a group across the province, only sold 80,000 permits this year. The average prior to this year, not including COVID, the average was running around 100,000. So we're down 20%. With not having that revenue, there's not enough money to actually run the fleet and the trails that we have. So there's cutbacks happening. And one of the things that was approved through the Board of Governors was cutting the groomers back to making sure that each groomer has a minimum of 100 kilometers of terrain to groom to be eligible to stay in the fleet. So across our district, we only have 1,600 kilometers, so we're supposed to be a maximum of 16 groomers. We actually have 21. So the push was to remove 5. As a group, we've gotten together, put together a business plan to lose 3. We have geography to contend with, so much like this area, when you go across over towards Port Severn in that area, we have bodies of water, whether it be a lake or a pond or a river. We have Highway 11, we have Highway 400, we have major highways, we have Canadian Shield. So we have all these natural barriers or natural and man-made barriers that we just can't groom through or groom over or groom around sometimes. So we need to have extra groomers, like extra clubs, so they can meet up on the outskirts of it. So that's what our business plan is that we put together. We haven't received a response on it yet, so hopefully we'll only lose 3 instead of 5, but we'll see. Our club's fine. Our neighboring clubs, though, just as an example, Tall Pines on the one side and Highland Rovers on the other side, each have 2 groomers. And by using the formula of 100 kilometers per groomer, Tall Pines only has 140 kilometers, and Highland Rovers is around the same. So between the 2 of them, they should only have a total of 3 using that formula instead of 4. But again, because of barriers and whatnot, we've put together our plan that they're able to keep to, and like I said, we won't know the answer to this stuff for another month or so, but that's what's been going on.
How often does the Board of Governors meet? Once a month?
No, they meet around 7 or 8 times per year. It doesn't seem to be, I don't know if Paul knows, it doesn't seem to be an actual schedule for them.
It's usually every 8 weeks. That's what they try, that's what they try for.
Yeah.
And then July and August, they try and have it as late in August as they can, but as close to the 8th, so because there's guidelines that when the AGM package has to come out by the bylaw compliance. So, but it's generally 6, no less than 6, no more than 8 times a year, unless there's a special meeting called. Those are there. And now we can do it. Now they can do the Zoom. The question about the number of kilometers. What about shifting kilometers from, as an example, Happy Wanderers to Paul Pines to get them closer to the?
Yeah, so that's part of the business plan that we did. So on the business plan, if we were to look at it today, you'd see that we shifted the loop on paper from the shelter going around 65, 67. That loop's been shifted to Tall Pines, so that's 30 kilometers to add to them.
The same
And-
with Highland Brook.
And yeah, and then on the Happy Wanderer side of them, because so Happy Wanderer